Alright, now we are in the billing document or the billing tab or the sales view of the customer master. What are the important fields here? I'll talk a little bit about invoice dates, okay, and invoice list dates. Invoice dates, invoice list dates, okay, and then we'll talk about incur terms, payment terms, and account, and we'll talk about tax. All right, so let me just put some entries in there and then we'll talk about them. And then let me put some incur terms, say, or rather let's not talk about incur terms and payment terms now. We're going to talk about these when we talk about the sales document deep dive, so let's not worry about them. Let me put some invoice dates and invoice list dates. Take a quick screenshot and we'll talk about that here. So what is invoice dates? An invoice date specifies the dates on which the customers need to be invoiced. Okay, so here is an example again. Let's take June 1st, order 1. We delivered it, billed it on, let's say, June 5th. Again, June 2nd, June 3rd, so on and so forth. Okay, the customer will receive as many invoices on June 5th, on June 7th, June 8th, so on and so forth. In general, if the customers are placing orders regularly, like every day or many times a week, then customers are more comfortable to receive invoices in batches, meaning, hey, you know what, why don't you just send me invoices for all the orders that I've placed by the week? Meaning, okay, all the invoices Monday through Friday, send it to me on Friday instead of sending me each individual invoice. Okay, so those dates on which you need to send the invoices to the customer will be specified in the invoice dates section. What is an invoice list? This is a little more complicated. Sometimes invoices are not good enough. Even invoices dates are not good enough. With so many invoices, it becomes a pain for the customers to pay each individual invoice. So what the customer says, hey, you know what, okay, you got invoice 1, invoice 2, invoice 3, so on and so forth. Now combine invoices for, let's say, a period of a fixed period, let's say 1 month, 1 week. Typically it's a monthly cycle. So combine invoices for the entire month into what is called as invoice list, which is just a combination of all the line items in all the invoices for that particular month compiled together into one document. And the customer will pay against that document. Okay, it's just an easier and a convenient way for the customer to pay, where he has a summarized billing. Now, in order to achieve this, there are a couple of things that have to happen behind the scenes, which we will talk about when we visit billing document type configuration. So until that point, if you remember this concept, that's good enough. Okay, next, these are important as well, but we'll discuss it at a later point. Now, what about tax? Or it's also called tax classification. What is tax classification? Tax classification is a way to identify whether a customer is taxable or not taxable. Some customers are taxable, some customers are not. Now, examples of taxable customers: regular commercial customers like you and me, corporates, Examples of non-tax or tax exempt customers or non-taxable customers: government, military, and non-profits, resellers, right? These are all examples of non-profits, and they need not be taxable. Now for all non-profits or government or military, this will be set to 0, and that's by country. And for profit and regular commercial customers, this will be set to 1. So what you need to set to will be given by your FICO consultant. So you don't have to sweat it. You just have to ask them, okay, what should be the tax classification? Should I set it to 0, 1, or sometimes it's 2 or 3, depending on the nature of taxation of the country. All right, and then we have partner functions. This deserves a discussion on its own. So we'll have a very detailed discussion on partner functions when we visit the sales document deep dive. Okay, so until that point, just hold on to that. All right, now we have finished the sales view of the customer master. Now what we're going to do is go to the company code view. Here is our sales view. We just finished it, and then click on save. Right, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is created. Now we want to create this finance view of the customer or the company code view of the customer. So go to FD01, enter the name of the customer, and enter the company code. Again, this is 1000. All right, let me take a screenshot. Okay. Okay, step number 1, and go inside, hit enter, and then enter recon account there. What is a recon account? Why is a recon account used? Is something that we're going to discuss as part of account determination at a much later point in time. So until that point, just enter an account number there, and this account number will be given to you by the FICO consultant. So you don't have to really worry about it. Just make sure that you get that account number from your FICO consultant. That's all you need to do. Now this, remember, is a role that's played not by Brian the sales guy, but by Charlene the finance user. So she's going to use the transaction FD01, use the same customer that Brian has created, but enter the company code and then finish up creating the company code view of the customer. Now we have created 3 views. Brian has created 2 views. Charlene has created 1 view. That finishes up creating of the customer master. All right. Now, a customer master can be extended. Now we have created the customer 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? We have created it using 2 steps. The first step was VD01, which created 2 views, general and sales. And the number that we have created is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This number was passed over to finance, and they created the finance view of the customer. This process of using an already existing customer and creating another view for it is called extending the view. Okay, this is one type of extension. The second type of extension is extending the org data. Now, if you see this customer 56789, right? 56789. Let's go to VD02, which is customer master in change mode, and then click on this customer sales areas. Okay, you will see that this customer 56789 has been created for this sales area 1000, 10, 00. Now, if you want to visualize this, think of a situation like this. Best Buy is a customer who sells iPods, and he is Apple's customer. Okay, Best Buy sells iPods. You can just go to Best Buy and buy iPods. Now, Apple sells iPods to Best Buy to be resold to customers like you and me, regular consumers. Now Best Buy will be created in Apple's system as a customer 56789, for example, and he is doing business currently in Germany. Let's say Best Buy also exists in Germany, and Best Buy also exists in the US. Now, do you need to create a different customer for Best Buy in the US versus a different customer in Germany? Not required. Instead, all you got to do is go to VD01. Okay, remember, it's not VD02. We are not changing the customer, we are extending the customer. This is the key to understand extension. We are not changing the customer, we are extending the customer. So we're going to put in the same customer number 56789, and instead of Germany, we're going to use US. See, we're going to extend the same customer to USA, Philadelphia. And it's not going to ask us to enter the general data again. It already knows that it is ABC Inc. and it knows the address, blah blah blah. All we have to do here is make sure that we enter the shipping, billing, and other tax relevant information. Okay, because this could be different by country, isn't it? So wherever things are different, just enter them and save. Now, if you go to VD02, okay, and you click on customer sales area, how many do you have? You have 2. So this customer, Best Buy, let's say, is available in Germany as well as the US. Right? That's a good example for you to visualize how customers are extended to different sales areas or different company codes. This not just applies to sales areas, it also applies to company codes. So the same could be done for company codes as well. Okay, but that's something that the FICO consultant will do, but don't worry too much about it. Okay, so you can extend a customer to different views, or you can extend a customer to different organizations or sales orgs, distribution channels, divisions, company codes. Now in another topic, we'll talk about common distribution channels and divisions, and you'll understand how how to manipulate this and what are the problems that you're going to face when you extend the customer beyond one set of org data, and how to mitigate all those problems. But other than that, this is the concept of extension. Alright, next, creation with reference. You see, the customer 56789 has already been created in 3000, right? Now let's say we want to create another customer. It's not 56789 but 56790. This time it's not Best Buy, it's Circuit City. So what do? Click on this customer and say 56789, which is the customer that we have just created, and give the reference as that customer in 3000, and then click OK. Now you see, if you just fill up the basic data like the name and some address, okay, and some transportation zone, and if you go to sales area, most of this stuff is filled in for you, like the shipping conditions is standard, the billing data is whatever, and if it varies, you just got to fill in this area. If anything differs, you just got to fill in that stuff. Other than that, most of the stuff is already done for you. Okay, example, shipping data and any other data like customer group, ABC class, so on. If I have filled it up for the old customer, it would already have been filled up to the new customer, because we are referring the older customer to create a new customer. Okay, so this is called creation with reference. The next thing is field changes. Okay, now let me go to VD02, which is the change customer master transaction. Okay, and then take the latest customer that I've created, and Let me add the customer group here. I've changed some field, or I can change anything I like, okay, and then click on save. So 56790, I've done some changes. Go inside and click on environment, field changes, all fields, and you see that the customer group is singled out here. And click on all changes, or you can double click on it, and you'll see that the customer group has been changed on this date, 7th of June, and the old value was null and the new value is 03. So this is useful if the customers or your users or the system needs to track changes to master data. Okay, who changed what at what point in time. If you double click this, you'll see that the user is available, the user who has done the change, and the field name, the technical description of it, the from value was blank, and the to value, which is the current value. Okay, and you'll also see that in which sales org this was changed, so on and so forth. Okay, this is called field changes. Additional data. What is additional data? Now if you take the same customer, okay, go to general data, go to extras, additional data, you'll have a pop-up that contains fields like this, a set of fields, additional fields called attributes. The reason why we have them here is because each company defines their customers in their own way. For example, I have worked with a medical devices company, let's say. The major customers for which are doctors and their patients and pharmacies. Okay. Now, I've also worked with companies that are in power generation. Their customers are just the state power company, the state distribution company, like PG&E, Pacific Gas and Electric. I've also worked with bio systems companies or biochemical companies, the major customers for which are universities who buy research equipment from them. Now you cannot define all these customers with a single template. The way you define a consumer who is buying pharma devices or pharma products from you is totally different from a doctor, from a power generating company, from a university, right? So the fields that are available in the general and the sales and the finance view of the customer might not be enough to label some of the customers. For example, I want to create or implement SAP for let's say a pharmaceutical company, and I want to define customers that are both doctors as well as patients. Okay, now I want to define a field over here that says he's a doctor or not. He's either a doctor or not. If he's a doctor, I should be able to know that 1, he's a doctor, 2, he's not, right? So you can customize these fields, this attribute 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. Okay, I'll tell you how to customize this attribute. You'll have to go to a specific transaction, but don't worry about it. The point being, you can customize these fields in such a way that only those 2 fields are available: doctor, yes or no. Okay, and look at this field. I've changed the label for this field, but these are generic. Let's change the label for this. Okay, attribute 2 doesn't make much sense to a user who is using this. He wants to know, let's say, another field, whether he accepts drugs in bulk or not, or whether he has a prescription or not. Let's say we're talking about patients and we need a field where he has prescription or he doesn't have a prescription, because we're not supposed to sell prescription drugs to patients that does not have a prescription, right? So prescription or not. But we want to change the name of the attribute 2 to define or to reflect the name prescription. Okay, so go here, place your cursor there, hit F1. Okay, hit F1 and then find out from the technical button that looks like a toolbar, what is the field name or the data element name? It's KATR2. Okay, now go to CMOD, CMOD. Okay, go to text enhancements, keywords, change. Alright, and then put in KATR2 and then hit enter. Now what is KATR2? Let's say it's prescription. So there's a short label, there is a long label, so on and so forth. Prescription, yes or no. Okay, let's not change all the labels, but these labels should be enough. Okay, prescription, save. Okay, we're done here. Close it. Now go to VD go to VD02 in change mode or VD03 in display mode. Go to extras, additional data, and then you see the change, prescription. Okay, in another video we'll talk about how to see these changes attributes. I don't want to talk about SPRO and all that stuff at this point, but just try and understand that you can change these attributes as well. Alright, so these are some of the customizations that you can do to the customer master. So this is additional data at the general level, and this is additional data at the sales and distribution level. Okay, and this is how you customize text labels. Go to CMOD, that is the transaction, and click on go to text enhancements, keywords, change. Okay, and that's all you need to know about customer master for now. We have only talked about the master data from a user perspective. Now there are a couple of more things that you need to know. The key customization called a customer account group, which shows you what you can do to create different types of customers. Okay, and then I'll give you another video which talks about some more aspects of the customer master. Okay, how to block customers, how to delete customers or set the delete flag, and what are the effects of blocking and what are the effects of deleting, what are the transactions for it, so on and so forth. So if you finish these two other videos as well that I'm going to send, your understanding of customer master is pretty much complete. Okay, so any other questions that you have, just we'll discuss them in the class as usual. Okay, all right, thank you very much, guys.